the heart of Dixie where the eagles fly, land of the brave where the bullets don't lie. We fought for our freedom with guns by our side. Red, white, and blue, our southern pride. Raise the flag high, let freedom ring from the rolling mountains to the flatlands. We sing, no one can take our rights. Our Second Amendment will defend our land. With every bullet we stand. We were born in the USA, land of the free, with guns in our hands. Will forever be Southern blood runs deep through our veins. We'll stand tall for America till the end of our days.
Hey there, I'm Sully, and as always, welcome to the Gun Club. Alrighty, I'm trying to get this back up and running. Not sure what exactly happened with our last stream. I was launching, and basically on my end, it looked like nothing was launching at all, and nothing was coming up. If y'all can't tell, I'm in a slightly different location. I'll have to make a little bit of an excuse for the audio. It's not really working 100%, but hopefully everybody can hear me and understand me well enough. Kind of working with one hand tied behind my back with a computer glitch going on right now. So to give you a little bit of an idea, we've had computer failure here that we're trying to work through. And so I'm working off a portable streaming setup that I've got. Pretty much try to do as well as I can right now temporarily. That's why if you noticed on the video earlier in the week, I didn't do a live stream on Tuesday. I actually did put up the pre-recorded video about the killing of Roger Fortson. Had that one sort of in the queue, getting ready to go. And so here we are. And let's see here if we're live. Let me see. I know I've got at least the YouTube chat is on. The Rumble chat seems to be working, although not sure if anyone's got me on there. I've got the Rumble chat. Hey, there we are. Yes. Okay. Now we're starting to see people pop in. Alrighty. Yes, I know Mary is waiting as patiently as we can, so that's good. Mel, see, yep, you found us. Okay, good deal. At least everyone's sort of finding us here. We've got a few people finally into the Rumble verse, so we're in. First thing I want to do is, it's been about 20 days since this happened. Very simply, Dexter Taylor is, again, still sitting in jail, waiting on his appeal. If you want to contribute to that, we're going to be putting support Dexter up here probably about once a week or more in the next few weeks, just because of the fact that it's an absolute mess. He does have the Give, Send, Go up there. Also, Angels Patriot Battle has been nice enough. They're selling an I Support Dexter Taylor t-shirt. It is made in the U.S. It's actually kind of cool. Or I Stand with Dexter t-shirt. You can check them out. There's their website. I know it's kind of long and contorted, but if you want to support Dexter a little bit, she's donating part of the proceeds of that over towards his legal defense fund to try to help with his appeals. So I've got that there. If you don't catch the link today on stream, the links are both posted in our locals group as well, trying to help do what we can to build up his support network and everything else. Dexter Taylor, as you might know, is the gentleman who was, in my opinion, and many people's opinion, kind of wrongfully overconvicted for basically doing what is legal in all 50 states in this country, but, kind of went against the new New York State law. He did it before that time, before it was illegal, but that's okay because we know some court systems, well, if you say the word gun, you're automatically bad, and they made a 51-year-old man, no criminal record whatsoever, into the most dangerous felon in the world because He built assault rifles. Yes, that's right. He actually built his own rifle. Yeah, I know. Stupid, crazy, idiotic. But, so we're going to be supporting Dexter here as much as we can over the next little while. That's kind of a big thing. Good evening, Shifty. I see you wandered on in. Welcome aboard. Hope you enjoy this evening. Couple things to go. Real next is Uvalde. Now, I know we all know what happened about 2 years ago in Uvalde, and good, bad, or otherwise, I'll say straight out that the school had a lot of fault in there, from not making some of the needed repairs, having a school that was extremely vulnerable, teachers or administrators leaving exterior doors unlocked, breaking their own policies. I also will say that the law enforcement response was improper, incorrect, and otherwise incompetent, but that was headed by the chief of the Uvalde School District Police Department. Well, there's some lawsuits that have come out from that. The first lawsuit we have was against the city, and they reached a $2 million settlement. The second lawsuit has been filed, which is versus 92 officers with the Texas Department of Public Safety. Yes, that's right, 92 officers responded, and so they're going after them because, after all, they were sent there to clean up the mess. Now, maybe some of those officers had some liability. I would say that after the first 20 officers were inside, the remaining officers, who might have been a quarter mile away directing traffic, I don't know why they're being sued, but that's okay. They're going to name everybody and let the courts all sort it out eventually. They're suing, again, the school district as well as several individual staff members. That's a $27 billion lawsuit. And their latest suit names Activision, or the games developer Blizzard, more correctly, Daniel Defense, who was the maker of the firearm used, and Meta Facebook. Now, the interesting part is Activision, Blizzard, the people who made Call of Duty Modern Warfare, they are stating that they are liable because, video games made him do it. Yes, that's right. Now, this to me is the flashback from hell to when I was growing up, when they said that video games were making kids violent. And then they said, no, it wasn't video games, it was rock music. No, it was violent movies made us do it. And then, of course, Daniel Defense made a rifle. Now, technically, Daniel Defense would usually be protected under PLACA, the Protection of Lawful Commerce in Arms. It was actually a law that was passed by the Congress and signed in by the president to protect people, firearms manufacturers, as long as they followed the law, saying they were not responsible if someone purchased their product lawfully and used it for an unlawful purpose. Much like you can't sue Ford if somebody goes out and drives a Ford drunk. It's not Ford's problem. They made the car, but they didn't tell anybody to get liquored up and get behind the wheel. Much like you can't sue American Airlines if somebody flies on their plane to go commit a homicide. Yeah, American flew them there. We'll name them too. If we were allowing this to happen, we would be suing Ginsu for knife wounds. We could sue sue Lowe's if somebody went and got a chainsaw and hacked somebody up. And the whole concept is that even whether they win or lose, they're going to drag these firearms companies through the mud so badly that, guess what, they're going to go out of business. This is what happened to Bushmaster in the aftermath of Sandy Hook. Bushmaster, the maker of the rifle that, let's see, oh yeah, that's right. Didn't he kill family members to get his hands on the rifle? But we'll blame Bushmaster for that because, of course, they're at fault. So we're going to blame the video game company. We're going to blame the people who made the rifle. And then we'll blame Meta and Facebook. I'm not sure exactly why they're named, but we'll name them too. We'll drag them through court. The process is the punishment. It doesn't matter whether you win or lose at the end of the day. If we can drag you through court and make you spend thousands and thousands, and maybe up to $1 million or more to defend some crazy specious lawsuit, that's fine. We'll destroy your company. And they're going after Daniel Defense. Now, ordinarily, Daniel Defense, again, PLACA would protect them. But in this suit, what they're stating is that Daniel Defense teamed up with Activision to market an AR-15 rifle to young, aggressive males who were going to go shoot up schools. Now, if there was a scene or a level in the Activision game, in the Call of Duty game, that was like plan your next school shooting or something, or if Daniel Defense was marketing their firearm as, the kindergarten killer 2000, maybe. But on the other side of that coin, what is it? We're just going to litigate you into oblivion. Now, the attorneys that are doing this are taking it on contingency basis, and chances are they're spending a lot of money. Even if the families, again, they're using the families, and I say using, the families, the children. Truth be, the attorneys are probably bringing in between 25 and 40% of the verdict plus expenses. So no matter what happens, the families will see maybe a little something. The attorneys will get new vehicles and summer houses out of it. And guess what? It's probably gun control groups wiring up these attorneys to go after us. Because the gun control groups love doing nothing more than attacking lawful companies such as Daniel Defense. Now, did Daniel Defense do anything wrong? No. The gun was sent to an FFL dealer. The shooter went to the dealer and legally passed the background check. He was legally allowed to buy a firearm. Now, they're not suing the shooter's family. They're not suing the people who raised the shooter. They're not suing anyone who failed anyway leading up to this because they probably don't have enough deep pockets. Activision, Meta, Facebook, they have the deep pockets. If this stuff is allowed to keep going on, guess what? Folks, as far as video game developers, we'll be back to Pong. Because any kind of adventure game or anything like that, guess what? These companies ain't going to be able to make them. They ain't going to be able to afford to do it. Now, you may not like Call of Duty. You may think Call of Duty is stupid. You may hate shoot-'em-up games. Personally, I've never played 1 second of Call of Duty in my life. But I've purchased guns. How many people have played Call of Duty and haven't shot up a school? How many people have bought rifles from Daniel Defense and haven't shot up a school? But no, it's their fault. And I love the comment I'm seeing here in the chat, and it makes so much sense. Yep, that's right. We need to blame anybody except the idiot who pulled the trigger. How about we start blaming the shooter? How about we start dealing with that? Now, if there was some connection that, Daniel Defense had sent him or marketed to him, no concept whatsoever of that. So we just have Daniel Defense, Activision, Blizzard, and Meta Facebook getting sued now. Why? Because we can run them through court. And yes, litigation is hella expensive. You have to sit in depositions all day, go through discovery, go through all this wonderful, glorious stuff. And what do we have at the end of the day? Well, the plaintiff's attorneys likely, like I said, are getting sponsored largely by anti-gun groups because, after all, they can do this to try to destroy the firearms industry. Folks, again, would we sue Ford for drunk drivers? Would we sue GM for drunk drivers? No. We wouldn't sue Ginsu for stabbings. We wouldn't sue, again, Lowe's or Home Depot. Go sue 84 Lumber because someone took a chainsaw to someone. This is garbage. It is total garbage. And hopefully this thing gets thrown out without costing everybody too much money, because otherwise companies are going to leave the United States. It's going to become more and more expensive, more and more difficult to buy firearms. Their goal is to literally run them out of business or run them out of the business. So that's definitely a giant pain in the ass or pain in the ass. Now, that's the bad side. Good side, we do have a really, really cool update from our Supreme Court. This came out today, and this is in the case of the National Rifle Association versus, the great state of New York, for lack of a better term. And this case went all the way up to the Supreme Court. Very simply, what was happening in New York was the National Rifle Association was based there. And because they could not shut down the NRA, the anti-gunners and the anti-gun groups and the state of New York went around and told, various organizations such as like banks or things like that, you don't want to do business with them because if you do, we'd be ashamed something happened to your business. This borders on extortion. Very simple. It would be the same thing as if you had a business. Let's say you had a local bar and grill, and the people in your town, the township, didn't like it, but they couldn't come up with a reason to get rid of your license. So they found out where you banked, and they went to your bank and said, "You know what? How about you shut down that bank account for Mary's Bar and Grill down the road? Be a shame if you did business with them and we had to come in here and inspect your bank a lot and regulate your bank." And then they went to the people you had your insurance with and said, you might not want to be doing business with Mary's Bank. Be a shame if something happened to your nice insurance company. We've got a lot of state insurance regulators, and we can do some pretty bad things to you. And all of a sudden, your bank is calling you up, shutting down your accounts. And next thing you know, your insurance company is, shutting down your coverage and not wanting to renew your coverage. And you said, we haven't done anything wrong. We haven't broken any laws. We are a totally lawful legal organization. Well, guess what? This went all the way to the United States Supreme Court, and it was a unanimous 9-0 ruling that the state had overstepped their bounds, basically saying, no, we can't do that. Now, stuff like this, why is it important? Because some governments, again, New York State government, and we can always laugh about that one, is, let's see, I know, but yeah, New York State government had gotten to the point where they literally were extorting, for lack of a better term, anybody who was doing business with the NRA. Now, if again, the NRA wasn't doing anything wrong. I mean, if they were selling crack through the mail or something, fine, deal with it. But they couldn't do anything against them. Nothing they were doing was illegal. So the state instead used their regulatory agencies to threaten them. Well, 9-0, it was voted that not acceptable. So that is a very, very, very big win, not only for the gun community as a whole, the 2A community, but any community that would be considered potentially dissident community. Let's say, imagine you were sitting there and you had your car insurance with something, and they said, we don't like who you voted for, and so it'd be a shame if something happened to your car insurance. That's what they're doing, and it's scuzzy, it's lousy, and it's, well, New York. What can I say? There's a reason I'm not there anymore. I love my city, but I hate what it's become. Yeah, let's see. Mel says here, did I know there is a county right here in South Carolina where Walmart will not open a store because plaintiffs' verdicts are so high? Thanks, Alec Murdahl. Yeah. I know a lot about that stuff, and there were actually 2 or 3 counties, I believe, that were considered so plaintiff friendly that suits were automatically moved there, like chasing venues, chasing things like that. And yeah, litigation does definitely affect commerce. Now, the verdict came down in the Trump trial today regarding the payments to Stormy Daniels. I'm not going to get all into that. There is going to be a special live stream on my other channel over the weekend that's going to cover that. I had hoped to cover it earlier, but as you can see, we're having slight tech issues here, so I'm working on alternate streaming stuff. But litigation does affect commerce. When the previous question came out about Trump's bookkeeping up in New York, and what were you hearing? The guy, Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank, was telling all of his people, stop investing in companies in New York. Don't run a business in New York City. Now, what do you think that's going to do if major companies start seeing a lot of this in various areas and move out? Do you think it's any stranger that Smith & Wesson moved their operations to Tennessee away from Massachusetts? Do you think it's any stranger that Remington moved out of New York and shut their factory down that had been there since the 1800s? They're in Georgia now. Now, of course, all these other states are going to cry because of the jobs they're losing. But guess what? It's going to get worse if they keep this up. We have a presidential candidate that's currently being run through the ringer in several states. We've crossed the Rubicon with that stuff, with crazy litigation and everything else. But we got that win today, so hopefully, they won't be able to enforce too much of that craziness. Onwards and upwards. Next hit we have for today, we're going to get into some good guys and gals with guns. And we've got a couple of really interesting ones. This one comes out of Taylor, Texas, excuse me. A homeowner shot and wounded an intruder who unlawfully entered the house while wielding a large knife inscribed with the words, "Hail Satan." The suspect is charged with felony burglary. Now, this is inside the homeowner's house. This person likely forced their way in, broke in some way, shape, or form. Imagine waking up and some guy is coming into your house with a large knife emblazoned in the words, "Hail Satan." The question is, at that moment, do you need to be your own first responder? Yes. I mean, when seconds count, cops are minutes away. At that point, is 9mm much faster than 911? Yes. And we look at the whole situation. This comes out from Williamson County. Yeah. Here we have 11:35 p.m. A man with a knife entered a house on Donna Drive. As officers run out to the address, the man was in the house and had been shot by the homeowner. So he called 911. They're on their way. Just hope you don't get stabbed before they get to you. When police arrived, suspect had exited the home, was lying on the front porch with a gunshot wound. There you go. Police said a large knife with a sheath was inscribed, "Hail Satan," and the suspect, the wounded man, was taken for non-life-threatening injuries. Fortunately, the idiot didn't die. On the other side of the coin, where are we at, folks? 9mm faster than 911. Now, this next one is really kind of interesting because it files right in with something we talk about all the time. Ladies, or restraining orders are wonderful pieces of paper, but, in this case, this comes out of Carmichael, California, I believe. Now, this would ever happen in California. They're all peace, love, and, granola out there, right? In this one, we have a man acted in self-defense in a deadly apartment shooting. Shooter is not facing any charges after a man was shot and killed inside an apartment overnight in Sacramento County. Deputies responded to the apartments. The man who called said he got a firearm and shot the person inside the apartment. At 2 a.m., we get a call from someone inside the apartment that he had shot someone who had come inside his home. The caller told the deputies that a woman who was there with the man, who was her boyfriend, identified the person who was shot as her ex-boyfriend. So here we have the ex goes to the current boyfriend's house. The girlfriend is there having a little overnight, whatever. If you want pictures, talk to Fannie Willis. She'll show you pictures. And Nathan Wade, his wife or whatever. But yeah, here we have this. New boyfriend had a gun, totally legally obtained, registered to him, and actually shot the old boyfriend. He said the new boyfriend and girlfriend are cooperating with the investigation. No arrests have been made because it is clearly a case of self-defense. Folks, this is one more time that I guess it would have been okay to wait for the cops to get there. The guy's bad enough to, bust into the house and do this. Yeah, we see how that plays out, don't we? Now, being that we're talking a lot about busting into houses, I want to talk about something a little bit on that realm, and that is the flip lock. Now, I don't work for these people. I don't get paid by these people. I'm not an affiliate with these people. However, I found this thing online. It was on a stream I was watching, and it was really interesting because basically it gives you a little bit of added security in your home, in yourself and your safety. The whole concept behind it, it was actually designed for industrial or school settings, but they made the residential version of it too. And I'll show you what this bad boy is. Pretty much, it is a lock for the inside of your house. It doesn't necessarily work while you're away, but it works when you are home, which is my number one concern. This thing is very simply goes on here, and when it's flipped into position, this drops in. And once it drops in like that, you cannot easily open that door to gain access. So you're going to bed at night, you have this, you flip it across. Let's see here so you can see it. Sorry, I don't do this thing really well, but You have this here, it's mounted in your door. You flip this across, and that there, keeping the door from opening up. This is fairly solid. It comes with nice long screws that go into the wall. And the best part is, if someone's walking up from the outside, they don't see any indication of it. They can tell looking from the outside where your doorknob is. They can tell if you've got a deadbolt on there, any other lock. They know exactly where to hit to breach that door. They know exactly where to kick to breach that door. Meanwhile, you can put one of these up at the very top of the door, or one at the bottom, or both. And when you're doing that, the whole concept is it's going to physically hold the door. The nice part also is it is not electronic. That works through power failures, blackouts. If they cut your power or anything else, it doesn't matter who it is. It's designed to be beat the damn door in proof. I put them on my doors, just very simply. Again, nothing's 100%, but they're going to have a hell of a time coming in the door if this thing's locked in place, because now they're going to have to breach that also. What's that do? That's going to slow them down getting through the door, make them make more noise getting through the door, and buy me time not only to call 911, but to get to the safe and possibly get something. So that way, when they do come through the door, they have a welcoming party, courtesy of Smith & Wesson. These things, again, they were fairly inexpensive. They're fairly simple, easy to install. Comes with all the screws and hardware you need to pop them in. And I think putting mine in, held it, put in 4 screws, it was done. And now, again, one extra little slowdown on the way in the door. Check them out. Like I said, it's called Flip Lock. They've got some videos up on here. I was going to try to clip the videos and show them to you. But again, if you're interested, looking for something like that, I'm not doing this to get paid. I'm doing this because I saw it and it makes sense. And like I said, at O Dark 100, if someone's trying to come in the door, anything you've got to slow them down, give you time to get armed, and make them make more noise getting in the door, bingo. And since they can't tell where it is, how high or how low, they can't very easily just break a window from the outside, reach in and hit a doorknob. They don't know where it is. They have to figure out, is it all the way up on the top and they've got to reach up there? Or is it way down low? Or are there 2 of them? Hey, the great thing is it may even save your dog's life if the ATF shows up. Yeah. Don't get me started. I've been following up on the Malinowski case. I've been reading a lot on that. And the more I read, the more that actually sickens me. I know I've sent a couple of links out on that one. I'll be posting a bunch on locals about Malinowski pretty soon. But yeah, so definitely that's one of those things that sort of keeps me on my toes, because you know what? I don't think that we need to live in fear, but on the other side of that coin, I want to make sure the exterior doors of my house are secure as possible, especially when I'm home asleep. Lets me get sort of off that condition yellow into a condition white and get some rest, which this week has not been particularly good. I'll say that. Onwards and upwards, and this one's very interesting. Comes to us from Vernon Parish, Louisiana. Yes, that's right. Down in Louisiana. Mary, I know you may enjoy this one since it's in your neck of the woods. Tuesday morning at 1:50 a.m., a 911 call was received in which a female indicated that a male subject had broken into a residence in the area and stabbed her and another person. VPSO deputies and officers with Rosepine Police responded to the residence, located a female subject suffering from a stab wound, a male subject suffering from a life-threatening laceration, and a male deceased of a GSW. The detectives arrived at the scene after further investigation, learned that the injured female was staying the night at the residence of an acquaintance to avoid her estranged boyfriend. Gee, yeah, bad she wished she was carrying. Detectives determined that he had entered the window of the residence during the night. Now, unfortunately, these things only work on doors, but okay. He had entered through the window of the residence during the nighttime hours, where he then physically assaulted the estranged girlfriend in front of her children. Sounds like a class act. There were 2 additional adults present in the residence. When the male homeowner attempted to intervene in the assault, he inflicted a life-threatening wound to the homeowner. The homeowner was able to retreat into another room where he armed himself. Tullis attempted forcible entry to the room and was shot upon entry. The male victim was transported by life flight to a medical facility in Lake Charles, Louisiana. Conditions unknown at this time. The female victim was treated and released at a local medical facility, and the investigation is ongoing. Now, there's case in point. Granted, came through the window, but he came through that window and he was planning on doing something bad. Just a hunch. Far be it from me to impugn motives onto the man who was stabbing people so bad they had to be life flighted. Folks, it is what it is. And, hats off to the homeowner, not only for being nice enough to let her hide there in his home from the psycho ex, but also, hats off to him for standing up and defending her instead of her losing her life. One more time, good guys and good girls with guns are protecting themselves and the people around them. We don't hear these stories in the national news. We hear Uvalde, 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 Uvalde. Still, they're still trying to sue the world for that. We're still hearing about all the school shootings, even though we've talked about how uncommonly rare they are. But the media won't cover this. And the reason they won't, well, you know as well as I do, that might actually portray firearms owners in a good light. Imagine that people will actually expect people to be able to take care of themselves and protect themselves. Yeah, I know. Awful, huh? Alrighty. Before we go, I'll definitely tell you there's going to be probably a lot of activity both on this channel and on the new Real Hard Truth political channel over the next few days. We are going to be doing a stream tomorrow night about the elephant in the room. I did not mention it tonight. I will tell you this much as the simplest I can. For those of y'all who are aware of what's going on with the Pope, the Law Daddy Pope, I've been following it. I've got a lot of thoughts on it. We'll be coming out tomorrow doing a special Rumble exclusive stream on that, going over some of that stuff. If y'all are familiar with what I'm talking about, if you know, you know. I'm sure you'll find it interesting. If you're not sure who the Pope of LawTube is, then who knows? You may learn something. Come on in. Love to have you there. I wanted to do something on this for a while, but on the other side of the coin, it's just a little bit difficult sometimes figuring out exactly how to put all this together into a stream and have it make sense, etc. That's about all I've got for tonight, folks. I greatly appreciate y'all coming by. Sorry about the sort of false alarm launching earlier. Let's see who else we got in the chat. Yeah, that's right. Litigation definitely does affect commerce. Yeah, totally agree with that one. Folks, I enjoy it. Be smart, be safe. Peace out. I'll leave you with the lovely and talented Sarah Gonzalez here from Blaze Media and her little tribute to AOC, so to speak. All right, so we got one more popping up in here. Okay, let's see. Now we know why his nose is so big. Honestly, I don't think, that question comes first. Which came first, the chicken, the Coke, or the schnoz? There is a question on that. Is his nose so big because of all the Coke? Or does he have so much Coke because his nose is so big? That's something we can discuss tomorrow night. Mary, thank you much. Appreciate it. Always try to do something fun. Again, please be smart, be safe. And if you have to go to court, don't do this.
You just heard that you explained that you qualified it as the detectives and police. And I asked you the authorities, the police, the prosecutors, I just made it broad, that they forced Jeffrey Williams into it. Did you hear you say that?
Man, can I get a water or something? I'm so high right now, y'all. I'm about to go to sleep on y'all ass. I ain't gonna tell you no lie.
Yes, you may. You can take a break. Hang in there.